Hello, champions. This is one of these days where I think it's very, very important to warn you again. With everything it has to do with the medical profession, everything it has to do with the pharmaceutical industry. See, the problem really is if we get or go to a person that makes money or his living out of our suffering and illness and maybe death, then we cannot really hope or expect that we get really cured. And it's like chiropractors not purposefully not adjusting everything they could so that you have to come back soon. Or I even heard of a dentist that drilled tiny holes in the teeth of my personal assistant, Catherine, when she was a teenager, so that the bigger things will come up later and he can make money on it. I personally have seen a lot of medical doctors that told me in personal and private, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I have no idea what's going on with that patient, but I cannot say that, then my business goes out of business. And so for me, I have had a lot of experiences in my life personally and with my relatives. And I'm curing cancer patients for 52 years now. And believe me, I have heard and seen a lot of horrible things done by the general physician, by your family doctor, or the medical profession in general. It is really a problem that the medical profession or the medical doctor was basically put out there as a god, as somebody you don't question. You just take what they give you, you just do what they tell you. This is how I grew up, that's how my grandparents and parents grew up, and this is what caused a lot of damage in their lives and in my life. The main thing is that after all these years that the chemical medical profession exists, after 1900, when the Rockefellers took over the chemical industry and started to create their salesperson called the MD by destroying all the naturopathic, homeopathic universities and created the chemical universities. And only if you have their education, their brainwashing, you can get a license as a medical doctor or practice as a medical doctor, which is absurd anyway, because I have seen much more naturopathic doctors or even naturopathic helpers and healers that produced real results for their patients than I've ever seen in the medical profession. The medical profession is practicing medicine, meaning practicing. So after 100 years, you're still practicing. Shouldn't you just stop practicing and just really start healing people or help people to get healed somehow instead of just shooting cortisone into an inflamed joint so that the pain instantly stops and the patient thinks, wow, you are a miracle healer, you are a medical doctor, you are producing miracles in seconds, which is just the very typical expectation or view of a medical doctor, just doing something to limit or suppress the symptoms instead of caring about what I'm doing, the root cause, and eliminating the cause that led to that symptom so that it doesn't come back. But in case of the medical profession, it's always short term, it's always suppression of the symptoms. It's never really a cure, it's never long lasting. It's like they have a cancer patient that they say is in remission. What in the world does that mean? You cannot have something and then be in remission and be seen as cured or healed. It's still there. It needs to be completely gone, and it needs to stay away without any limitations or any long-term medication. If you're cured, it's like you have a splinter in your finger And the medical profession may give you a painkiller, and then when it gets inflamed, you get some antibiotics, and then it gets worse, and more painkillers, more antibiotics, and then they take your finger off and basically say, no finger, no pain, no inflammation. But the only reason is for that inflammation, the splinter in your finger, so that's the root cause. Grab it and pull it out, and the healing can start. And it's like all these kind of lies about prevention. There is, in my experience and opinion, not one single vaccine that ever prevented or cured any form of disease. It's just the opposite. The side effects are more horrific than if you would get a certain illness, and it doesn't prevent anything anyway. The entire science of virology is a fraud. There is no such thing as a virus because it's never been proven that the microscopical particle can make you sick or kill you, and that there's anything that you can put into the body to prevent that specific microbe, this specific what they call virus. There are no viruses, and to take over your body or accumulate in your body causes harm. There's not one single proof for a virus, so-called virus, getting into your body and making you sick or kill you. That doesn't exist. It has been done over and over again. They have taken so-called viruses, injected them into other people and healthy people to watch if they get the same kind of symptomatic, same kind of illness or traumatic event that the originator of the provider for the virus had. And it never happened in one single time. It's never been proven a virus can make a healthy person sick. So therefore, if there is no such thing as a virus, which there is not, and the entire science of virology is no science, it is simply fraud. And you need to be extremely careful of everything that's coming from the government telling you about your health. The government was always wrong. No matter what the government said, whenever you followed it, you got worse or you had a big price to pay. It's like with all the COVID-19 vaccine or COVID-19 virus hoaxes, all the lockdowns or everything that was related to mandatory vaccination. So first of all, the government has absolutely no right to invade or order an invasion of your perfectly protected body by your immune system. Your immune system even protects you from the dangers of vaccinations in many cases that otherwise would kill you if you wouldn't have the strong immune system. They wondered why we are not all dead after all the chemtrails, because our immune system is so strong. They tried literally everything to get rid of the world population. There is a massive genocide agenda out there for hundreds or maybe thousands of years. The wars is one of the main tools they are using to get rid of humans, or the number of humans that they perceive as dangerous or unsustainable. And so wars are caused or ordered by the government. Medical intervention or medical rapes of the body are somehow related to orders, laws, or regulations by the government. And the government is not a doctor, it's not trained for healing, it's not trained to treat a person. So how can they even dare to make rules and regulations for your health or your child's health? We have millions of proof of the damage vaccination did or does or will do in a child or for a child to a child and even adults, but even coming up with the idea there should be a vaccination schedule for every child, that's basically, it's an assault with a deadly weapon. Every vaccination, in my opinion, is an assault with a deadly weapon. And if anybody would try to mandatorily vaccinate me or my child, I would treat it as an assault with a deadly weapon, and I would fix it that way. So there are now finally court rulings that doctors that vaccinated their patients without really giving them confirmed consent will be held legally and personally liable and responsible for what they did, because they did not get educated themselves enough, they did not educate their patients enough, and they just did whatever they've been told to make more money, and in many cases being threatened to lose their license. A very good friend of mine lost his medical license for a short time because he gave very early ivermectin to so-called COVID patients. And since COVID-19 never existed, and since there is no virus, and there were just symptoms, regular flu or cold, they all got better. Like, ivermectin works perfectly for patients with similar symptoms for a very, very long time. I think ivermectin is on the market for over 60 years. Even got awards and all these kind of things that all of a sudden don't matter anymore the second they want to kill you, or they have a tool to kill you, like fluoride in your drinking water or in toothpaste, or chemtrails with all the heavy metals, and lately this strange fog that we had that basically made people sick with contact and or killed them even. But there's no talk about this anymore because they have no explanation, and they don't want to get into it because they ordered certain things. You cannot believe that there can be deadly fog sprayed anywhere in the United States of America, in any state or any place, and the government doesn't know about it. That's not even possible. So therefore, they knew what it is. They maybe have ordered it. I don't know, but I cannot really explain how, or find an explanation how they can spray the deadly chemtrails, which through Robert Kennedy Jr. now are exposed. And I think he's doing a great work. But the problem really is that the second somebody appears or emerges out of the darkness to bring light and information into our health, our treatments, they're going to attack him and trying to destroy him. And I think Robert Kennedy did a lot, or wanted to do a lot, to really help us in America or even people worldwide. But obviously the assaults are having a result, and he had to step back a couple of steps to be able to even step forward again. And I think he has a lot of strength. I think he has a lot of guts. I personally talked to him, and after I talked to him in West Palm Beach, I have a different opinion about Robert Kennedy as a person, and this is my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with what I'm saying here and with the great work he's doing or trying to do. But you also always need to follow the money, as you know. On the other hand, always question somebody's intentions. Why does somebody say things, sell things, try to promote things? Why did President Trump came up with this warp speed murder attempt, mass murder attempt, I believe he was just ignorant and not educated enough to know what he was doing. But he's still, in my opinion, responsible for everybody that died based on the results of the creation of the so-called COVID-19 vaccine and the mandatory vaccinations. And everybody involved in this should be held responsible for genocide, mass murder, criminal assault. And we need to create unity. We need to create a council that is basically overlooking all these government agencies, government actions, because we need to learn to take care of ourselves again. And most of all, there is no right from anybody. Even, see, there's always this thing about constitutional, unconstitutional. I don't really care. We are born with the right to life, and we have the right to defend our life, and that's not questionable. I do not need it in writing that I have the right to self-defense. My life itself, that I'm alive, gives me the right to defend my life. And for the government to believe they have the right to make laws to have you mandatorily vaccinated or give you any kind of mandatory medication or chemicals, which basically is regulated through the Nuremberg Code. So they have no right to do that. And they are saying Hitler and the Nazis killed all these people by medical or through medical experiments, but what they are doing worldwide is nothing different. They all need to be held responsible based on the Nuremberg laws, because the Americans made these laws and judged people and sent them to death by hanging for violation of this law. It's kind of like time that we apply this worldwide. And we need to really wake up to the fact that if we don't care and protect ourselves and our children and our loved ones, nobody will. Because everything that comes from the government is bribable, it's blackmailable. And we see this over and over again. Even, I cannot even understand that there are so many pedophiles in this world, but there are still permanent blackmail possibilities out there to whatever happens with these Epstein files or Epstein videos or Epstein blackmail attempts. There must be some normal, healthy, mentally healthy people left. And it doesn't really look like it. It looks like that they all have their skeletons in their closet, and they rather play with the New World Order genocidal agenda than getting exposed to whatever they did or doing. So we have to really question everything and everybody. No politician should be longer in office than 2 years, because that's the point where they start to establish their own circle of co-criminals, and that needs to stop. There cannot be a lifelong professional politician in office. That in itself is a root cause of all the problems we have in politics. So they all need to go 2 years maximum, or for senators and congressmen, 2 periods of acting in office should be the maximum. There should be also age limits for politicians. I have seen strong sermon in the shape that you wouldn't even believe, still, in quotes, doing his job, and somebody else held his hand or led his hand when he was signing certain documents. That's what I heard from somebody who was very, very close to him. And based on his age, just this look up the pictures on the internet, Storm Thurman at the end of his life, and look at these pictures, and he was still basically fully involved in making laws and controlling our country. And he might have been a good guy, I don't know, but just the process of aging is something that you don't control and you change no matter what. I personally have understood that I'm not on the same level that I was 28. And I know that if people get older, there are changes, good changes and bad changes, but still there are changes, and there might not be the person you ever elected in office, or the person might not be the same person that you elected. So there shouldn't be, in general, no possibilities for government to make laws about our health or health treatment. The World Health Organization should not be involved in anything because they have proven a really bad track record, and the people that are in power there are basically the worst of the worst, in my opinion. And it's all about power, and you cannot give power or your power up to the government, and then the government gives it to somebody else that you didn't agree to, that you didn't elect to anything, and just so they can just make all these rules, regulations, and laws to make sure we die young or we suffer, so that the pharmaceutical industry makes a lot of money on us before we finally die. And most of all, your medical doctor has no education in natural health or healing if he or she doesn't get it privately, personally, him or herself. The medical universities do not teach healthy nutrition, do not teach naturopathy, they do not teach homeopathy or any form of natural healing or treatments. So it's really, really important to educate yourself, question everything and everybody. Do not trust anybody. Never do a surgery before you ask for a second or third opinion. And surgery should be just always just the last resort. For example, I personally, in 52 years dealing with patients, have never seen a back surgery go well, or shoulder surgery, or knee surgery. With knees, there's a huge placebo effect that plays a role in people believing they are better. But at the end of the day, it's natural. There's a natural cause for something, and you need to find out the root cause, and then you can fix it. It might be just as simple as a nutritional deficiency, and you can regrow cartilage or bones. There's so much knowledge out there that you cannot really apply or tell people about without getting in legal trouble. And we have in Germany a legal saying that says, "Who heals is right." Who that heals is right. And that should be common sense healing. There should be natural, instinct-based healing. My system is called the instinct-based medicine system because I believe our instinct is God talking to us and cannot be wrong. It's a part of our soul. And we all should learn to listen to ourselves again. Listen to our instincts. Listen to the universe or God, however you want to call this. I don't want to make it a religious issue because it's not. It's a natural issue. It's an issue where all of nature, the cosmos, the energy of the world, of life itself is involved. And I think we all need to become one with the universe again, because everything is frequency and vibration. And the second we are off our healthy vibration and frequency, we get sick or may die. We just need to learn to get back to natural frequencies, to our nature, to our own immune system. Nothing is stronger than our immune system. Nothing is stronger than the why. Not the treatment itself is the issue. The issue is you have to have a reason why you want to be healthy again, why you want to be healthy at the first place, and what you are willing to do to get there. There's always a way. I have dealt most of my life only with patients that have been given up by the medical profession, and people came to me and said, I have 3 months to live, 9 months to live. And that's a problem. There are studies done that concluded that people that like their doctors and get the prognosis of 3 months to live die in that time frame to not prove their doctor that they like. Wrong. So question everything, question what I say. Do not just believe anything and anybody. Everybody has his or her own agenda. My agenda is very simple. After the medical and chemical pharmaceutical industry basically is responsible for the death of all my relatives. My father died of cancer. My grandparents, all 4 of them, died of cancer. 68 of my cousins and other relatives died of cancer. And as you know, I'm always saying you cannot die of cancer, you die of the effects of the treatment. You cannot cut somebody's lymph system out if they have breast cancer. Your lymph system, your lymph nodes, that's basically your physical immune system. You have 4 times more lymph liquid than blood. And when they cut it all out, where's your physical functioning immune system going? It cannot function. If the damage to surgery is too large, there are too many scars internally, where usually we know in these scars caused by radiation treatments, there will be new cancers growing in these scars, in the scar tissues. And you have to be really, really careful, my dear friend. They have no treatment and no cures. Ask your medical doctor, how long will it take that I'm cured? When will I be cured? How long does it take, and how are you going to cure me? There are no answers because they don't have them. They can just tell you how long you live based on the amount of chemo they're going to give you, not on the amount of cancer or the stage where your cancer is. And it doesn't really matter if they just give it Latin names so that you don't understand them and that you think they are especially smart. So the only 2 professions that have a secret language, Latin, that you should be very worried about is the religious system, is religion, and is the medical industry. Just ask yourself, why do they have a secret language? And basically, my grandmother died based on them talking to her in a way that she had no slight idea of what they were saying and what they were proposing and what they were doing to her. But this is something for later. It is just really important. I am just at the moment at the spot where I really don't care. See, I have 8 attempts on my life. They wanted to make sure all my books disappear, my teachings disappear. I am the most censored, blocked, and from the internet deleted doctor in the world. I know there's so many of these clowns out there saying they're the most censored. No, they're not. I've been censored before these idiots were even born. And my car has been bombed because I wasn't willing to take my book, Mama, Please Don't Die, off the market, explaining how I cured my mother from hepatitis C, liver cirrhosis, liver cancer, terminal state, and a fatty liver, with a prognosis of 6 months to live. And I explained it in this book really well, and everybody could understand it. Many people were following my instinct-based medicine system. And so they tried everything to get rid of this book and get rid of me and my message, my seminars. And that's kind of like a really sad thing, because YouTube might be, or Facebook might be responsible for somebody in your family, some loved ones of you died of cancer that could have been prevented if you would have had my message earlier, or my message in general, because every patient is curable. And I'm sure I can cure every cancer patient within 12 days if he or she is willing to do whatever it takes and following the IBMS system, which you can understand, learn to understand in all my books. Mainly my latest book, The Only Cancer Patient Cure, is the accumulation of 50 years of dealing with cancer patients successfully, and all the knowledge I accumulated of training for the largest companies in the world, making them even bigger and more successful, training with world-leading athletes, Olympic winners, and world champions, because I have found out that there's a root cause in us if we win or lose. And if I can identify in you your root cause, your motivation, your why, and I can help you to look at it and use it, you have a good chance of having the life of your dreams created by yourself. So that was your Dr. Leonard Coldwell, Dr. C. Please go to my website, drleonardcoldwell.com, doctor spelled out, or write me directly to ibms@drleonardcoldwell.com. So I try to answer all the emails that are coming in. We have 1,200 emails a day coming in right now. I still try to answer. They get pre-selected and pre-viewed by my staff, and they give me everything I have to answer personally. We have some general answers, but just please write me, and I do everything in my power to help you. And this is not in any way, shape, or form a replacement for medical diagnosis or medical treatment, because I'm not interested in killing you or helping you to kill yourself. I'm interested in your health. And I made a deal with God. I asked God, listen, if you help me to cure my mother, I will spend the rest of my life to prevent other children and their parents to have to go through what my mom and I had to go through. I cured my mother. She was my very first patient from hepatitis C, liver cirrhosis, fatty liver, and terminal liver cancer with a prognosis of 6 months to live about 48 years ago. And she lived another 48 years, very happy, very healthy, not even a cold or flu, nothing, absolutely and a perfect healthy life. And so God helped me to cure my mom. I cured my mom, and I'm keeping my word. Okay, let's kick butt, my dear friends. We now know they killed to get the money from the government or from whoever for killing COVID patients or diagnosing patients that have nothing or something else with so-called COVID-19 or as a cause of death, which if you really look into it deeper and deeper, I don't really think there was even a possibility that COVID-19 ever existed, because when they started pushing that, the regular flu completely disappeared. So what happened to that? So everything was diagnosed with COVID-19, and the PCR test is the biggest fraud in diagnostic ever. Even the person who invented it said it's not created to diagnose an infection. We just need to learn to think again. I know this might be a little bit all over the place today, but for me, it's important that I get this message out, and I don't use in any way, shape, or form notes, because it keeps me from getting the information from the universe and giving it to you as clear as I possibly can. So please visit my website, drleonardcoldwell.com, doctor spelled out, or write me to ibms at drleonardcoldwell.com. Thank you guys, and thanks for listening, and have a healthy, wonderful day.